again, and welcome to Gulf News Straight Bat. Today, England look to get their campaign back on track after that shock defeat against Ireland, and also because they had the game against Australia washed off last Friday. Skipper Joss Butler knew that a loss today against New Zealand would mean that their fate wouldn't be in their own hands. But today they scored a healthy 179 and they won by 20 runs. Sham and Satish are here to talk about the match. Starting with Sham first. What did you make of that match, Sham?
I think a very interesting match, very good match. In fact, till the half, till 15 overs of the New Zealand innings, we didn't know which way it's going. Actually, pretty much New Zealand had the chase pretty much under control. Once Williamson left, I think they were a bit rudderless, and Phillips couldn't get going, and the rest of the batsmen just fell in a heap actually. So, and England actually, I thought they underperformed given the start, because they had an excellent start with Hales and Butler just getting off the blocks quite quickly. They could have actually scored around 200 or more, but New Zealand put it back in the slog. They had an excellent slog overs where they conceded only 25 runs. Actually, that actually pulled them back. Otherwise, England could have easily topped 200. So I decided both the sides did well, and even England also bowled exceedingly well in the slog with Curran being the pick of the bowlers really.
Satish, no team has ever chased 180 in a T20 international at the Gabba. It was a tall order, we knew that, but for a little while New Zealand were probably fancying their chances, weren't they?
Of course, I think that's because thanks to England. England became sloppy somewhere after closer to the 10-over mark. Just after it, when Moeen Ali dropped that sitter, after that they were really running ragged at that point of time, because they were sloppy. They were left a couple of boundaries. There were a lot of ones into twos. The fielding was literally not up to the mark what it was. Thanks to Kane Williamson wicket, they actually regrouped and then they came back to the game. But for that wicket, maybe England would have lost it. Maybe because they knew that Phillips can take the match away, and it was a very big drop. But these things happen. So that was one of the reasons why New Zealand came into the contest, because it was not an easy wicket. Gabba is not a place where you can chase those runs so easily. But Phillips is a big hitter. You can really hit big sixes, and he can take the match away from the team. And that's precisely the point where, if you look at Kane Williamson and Phillips had a 91-run partnership, of which Williamson was run a ball knock, 40 or 40 balls. So whereas Phillips was almost 200% close to. So 200 was a strike rate at one point of time when he got his 50. So that says a lot about that one particular knock, Imran. That helped New Zealand stay in the chase.
So, Sham, England, they won the toss and they decided to bat. That was a change of plan. As we know, they usually like to chase. But after 10 overs, they got themselves into a very strong position. They had 10 wickets in hand. It was an excellent platform to build on, wasn't it?
Very, very true. I actually, regarding the toss, I was listening to both the captains. Even Kane Williamson also said that if he had won the toss, he would have opted to bat first. So actually, the Butler actually did a good thing by batting first, and I am sure they also had the Brisbane record also in their minds. So probably that could be one of the reasons, really. But having said that, I think Hales was the one who set England on on something like what was it, 81 runs, and 77 for no loss at the end of 10 overs. That is thanks to Hales who got off the blocks like shot. Actually, Butler was left in the pale partly because of Hales' big hitting really, and also Butler was also lucky to survive a grass catch by Kane Williamson really. But given 77 for no loss in 10 overs, I expected England to top 200, like I said earlier. But New Zealand bowlers came back strongly, especially in the last 4 overs. Really.
Yeah, Satish.
Also, just to talk about the toss, it's going to be very tricky because already they played the first match on the same wicket, and it's been a rain-affected condition. So obviously, it was quite easy, I think, for Butler to make the decision. Probably Kane also would have done the same thing because The fourth innings is going to be really difficult on this wicket, which we saw what's happening.
Yeah, and we were lucky. This game was supposed to be washed out. We were
Yeah.
expecting some rain, but we
Absolutely.
got the full game.
But it was a good game.
Yeah, but it was slightly, I think the conditions were slightly overcast, and Trent Bolt was getting, as we know, some swing on the ball. We know how dangerous he is once the ball starts to swing. But he didn't have a great day, Satish, did he? He finished his
No,
four
I think,
overs, he got no wickets for 40 runs, and he'll be disappointed with the way he played today.
Absolutely. Imran, this is exactly where Butler read the wicket better than England, because if you look at it was a spinner, Moeen Ali, who started the proceedings for England, not a fast bowler, where they have two tear-away fast bowlers. And if you look at both the innings, the spinners were doing well. It was Sodhi and Santner who kept the scores contained because they bowled quite early in the for 10 overs. And almost by the 12th over, they both had done their spell, completed their 8-over spell. And when the ball became old, that's where the Pacers got some purchase because the ball was stopping and coming. And with the ball being old, the ball was not coming quickly onto the bat. This is exactly what happened to England innings as well. England bowled Moeen Ali initially and tried to bowl Adil Rashid. But then somewhere down the line, Butler brought in the Pacers. And that played into the hands of Phillips, who likes the ball to come onto the bat nicely. So he went on the after the fast bowlers, and it was not a fast bowler's wicket for sure. Sam Curran got those wickets because of his slow pace variations. The ball was not moving around, though it was an overcast condition. The ball was not moving around. You have to play with your length, with your skills, with your variations. So that's what the difference between Sam Curran and Trent Bolt, though both were left-arm pacers.
Yeah, and Satish, Shyam already mentioned a great knock from Alex Hales. He got his 50, his half century, but the very next ball he was out. How important was it for New Zealand to break that early partnership, because they were going really well one day?
No, I think by the time Hales got out, the match was already out of New Zealand's grasp, because you have almost another 10 batters who could come and do the same thing from the other end. And at that point of time, Butler also got his runs. And I think the drop catch of Butler by Darryl Mitchell, a straightforward chance, though it was hit hard, I think that got another 20-30 runs extra for England. Otherwise, they might have struggled a bit, because this is not a wicket where you can come and hit the ball straight away. You need to spend time. And that's exactly what Butler did in the initial phase. And he was allowed to do that when Hales was going hammer and tongs with the bowling. So that helped him to settle down. If you look at the New Zealand inning, Kane Williamson was trying to do the same thing when Phillips was going after the bowling. But the sad part is, against the run of the play, Williams got out. That's when they didn't know how to go about the task, because after that it becomes difficult. But Hale's wicket didn't have much of a bearing, because he has done his part at that point of time, which actually should have been called a wide. I don't know why it was not called a wide.
And Sham, what did you think of Butler today? He did really well. He got 73. He's become England's highest scorer in T20 cricket. He's passed Morgan now. How good was that knock from the captain today?
Actually, it was in patches. It's not a typical Butler innings because since Hales was going good, I think he allowed the Hales to have more of the strike, and he just played more like a sheet angle role, really. Once Hales got out, I think he really stepped on the gas, or halfway through he stepped on the gas, really. Till then, but the thing is, Butler, to me, Butler is perhaps the best T20 batsman in the world, because he can in T20s. This is the guy who consistently scores centuries in T20 matches. So, and also he can pace the innings very well. I have seen Butler score a century in Sharjah, because the relay Sharjah wicket was slow, and he scored a century against South Africa, and he reached the century of the very last ball of that inning. And I clearly saw, despite struggling, how he managed to farm the strike. And not just that, and he stepped on the gas as soon after the last 5 overs. So he really took the match away from South Africa in that particular game as well. So this is exactly what Butler does to all the teams, and this is a typical Butler in that sense that he started off slowly because Hales was doing very well, and he he stepped up the scoring when it was required. So that is Butler for you.
And
Yeah, and then
he can do the same thing with a copybook style of play. He doesn't hit the ball harder. He can come and play the shots where once it hits the bat, it races to the boundary like as if it's hit by something else. So that's the timing, beautiful.
No, that's yes. You said about the timing. He doesn't bludgeon the ball. It's not brutal. It's just sheer timing, really.
And then to follow that up from that fantastic innings with the bat, he took a superb catch when England were bowling. They got the danger man Conway out for just 3. How big a wicket was that, Sham, at that stage?
Conway is pretty dangerous because Conway can anchor the innings like we saw against Australia. Australia, he held the innings together with the innings of 92, I think, if I remember right. And not just that, he uses the feet very well against spinners. So maybe Adil Rashid and Livingston may not be able to have the same kind of impact on the game if Conway had got the innings underway. But but that is exactly one of the reasons why Moeen Ali came early on, because Conway being a left-hander, I think Butler chose to open with Moeen Ali because he takes the ball away from the left-hander. But although that one over, Conway didn't actually he struggled a bit, really. But I think that was a very vital wicket because he could have given New Zealand a good, not just a good start, he could have anchored the innings, actually.
And then Satish, another big wicket came soon after when Finn Allen, after 5 overs, and at that stage it looked like New Zealand were going nowhere, didn't they?
Yeah. At 5 overs, almost I think around the halfway mark, I think New Zealand were something like 70 for 2 or something like that. That's the situation. That's the time I think the fast bowlers came back again, and suddenly the run rate started going up, and after the drop catch, the fielding went completely quiet. They were giving away a lot of fumbles, extra runs, and that's a place which they utilized it well. But the final 5 overs, as expected, the fast bowlers came and did the job for England, which sealed the match. And Shan, just to take the another point from the Conway innings, it was very well used because both Conway and Moeen Ali, they play for Chennai Super Kings. They must be knowing each other well. And the way Moeen Ali kept the ball and troubled him clearly shows that Moeen Ali knew a few things of Conway's soft spot, which he targeted in the first over.
And Satish, speaking of Moeen Ali, I think the game really started to change after that drop catch from Moeen. I mean, it was a simple catch. He should have really taken that. Phillips was on 15 at the time, and he went on to get his half century. What do you think was going on in his mind, Satish, after he let that one slip?
Really relieved, number one. And that's the sad part with Moeen Ali. I don't understand him. At times he can be at somewhere at a different level, and sometimes it can be very pedestrian. Whether it is batting, bowling, fielding, I don't know how this the variations happened to him almost in the same game. He bowled a brilliant first over, and few overs down the line, he drops a simple catch. Even probably a club cricketer would have taken it, or even a novice would have taken it. Maybe.
One of the reasons they were saying is he could have lost the ball against the lights. That was
but
the only
as an experienced player, he should be positioning himself in a different position, isn't it? It was not a difficult catch. So it's
but we've been seeing so many dollies being dropped. Even Phillips dropped one, right, dolly today. So we've been seeing a lot of
several drop catches today.
Yeah.
So then Sham, Stokes got the big breakthrough when Williamson, who was looking very set at the crease, that partnership with Phillips was finally broken. And so how key was that for England at that stage?
Actually, on the face of it, if you look at Williamson's innings, it is 40 runs of 40 balls, actually, which means he soaked up quite a lot of balls, which means there are a lot of missed opportunities. But it needed a Williamson at one end for Phillips to fire the way he did. Because otherwise it's going to be difficult. it's not easy for both batsmen to fire from both ends because one of them is definitely going to get out. So when a batsman is chancing the arm, you need somebody to drop anger at the other end. That is exactly what Williamson did. Not just that, Williamson knows his strengths very well. He knows his limitations as a player in white ball cricket and plays accordingly. And he's remember, he's one of the shrewdest captain around, and so he knows exactly how to play the situation as well. So from the New Zealand's perspective, that was a very invaluable innings.
What did you think, Satish? Agree with that?
Yes, of course. Williamson takes up a lot of deliveries, but if you look at the ploy, must have been either bring in Phillips or probably Nasham or Daryl Mitchell, Santner. They will be attacking from the other end. And again, you have to understand one more thing: the wicket, one side of the ground is bigger, the other side is smaller. So to capitalize all that, he must be playing all this, and of which two of them are left-handers, Santner and Phillips
Nisham.
are left-handers, Nisham are left-handers, Phillips and Mitchell are right-handers. So he must be trying to play according to the situation. But I think the crucial point that they missed was the openers are not firing. The openers should have got a little better start to go with. I think instead of Conway trying to scoop the bouncer to behind Butler, he could have actually tried to play a good shot. Probably would have connected better. So, and Prince Allen also, like, I think it was a sad wicket. So if they had not lost those 2 wickets, and if the openers had put in a decent partnership, probably New Zealand would have come in much closer, or probably they would have won with Williamson anchoring the innings like this. But again, the 100 strike rate is not the best of the best innings, but it was very important in New Zealand's perspective, because at least now the run rate is quite high right now. They have not lost the run rate, because that could play a bigger role in the final scheme of things when the league games are over.
Okay, so well done to England. They go second in the group. New Zealand have lost today, but they stay first. Earlier today, Sri Lanka played against Afghanistan, and they won that match by 6 wickets. De Silva scored an unbeaten 66, which is a very good innings from him. Shyam, what did you make of that performance from Sri Lanka?
I mean, this is Sri Lanka playing to potential, really. I mean, see, 144 is a subpar score in Brisbane, but still, given the travails of Sri Lanka, they could have easily, skewed this. Basically, they could have torpedoed themselves, but it didn't happen simply because of Dhananjay De Silva. Like he did the bulk of the scoring. He strung together 3 partnerships, one with Kusal Mendes, which was a very integral one, really, and then he also had another partnership with that was another 50 plus partnership with Salanka, and another 40 plus partnership with Rajapakse. So he was involved in 3 crucial partnerships, and that saw them home. But problem with that match from Afghanistan perspective is quite a few batsmen got good start. I see quite a few 20s scored by the batsmen, but nobody carried along, and nobody really batted along. Either tried to take the match away from the Sri Lankans, nor did they bat deep. So that which is why they had an undercooked total, really. And I think the 144 was not the kind of total that Afghanistan could have had to pin down Sri Lanka, despite the spinners. I think they had a good start with Mujib getting a wicket of the first over.
But that's the new ball turned from almost from middle and leg. It hit the outside off stump.
Yeah, Mujibur Rahman is known to do that. Actually, he then opens the bowling for them, and Brisbane with a little bit of help from the pitch. I think that was very good from him. And remember, he's a class bowler actually, and he's one of the most wanted spinners in the franchise cricket actually. And he showed them why, but that was not enough to peg back Sri Lanka.
Satish, do you think the Asia Cup champions can make it to the semi-finals?
Very difficult, because already 3 teams on 5 points. I think they have to win their final game, which means that they will then go to 7. I think that they are playing one of the biggies in the final game, if I remember right. I think it is Australia, if I remember right. That's the game they are playing, maybe, which will be. So one of them will be certainly out of the equation. Either it is Australia or Sri Lanka will be out of the equation, I think. 1 second, let me check the. No, it's Australia versus Afghanistan. England are playing Sri Lanka. Yeah, so that game, obviously, like it'll be one between England and Sri Lanka. One of them will be out of the race. And at the same time, Ireland are playing New Zealand. In that sense, I think it's going to be very tricky on this Friday. Both of them are playing New Zealand and Australia are playing on Friday. But the advantage England has is they're playing on Saturday. Both England and Sri Lanka, they're playing on Saturday, which means they know exactly the situation where they are. And based on that, either they can get the run rate or they can get the points. And then based on that, they will determine the semi-final slot. But anyway, it was a pretty good performance from Sri Lanka. And the biggest difference today between the other games was they fielded quite well today. They took some good catches. I think Hasaranga bowled up to his expectations. For the first time, he got some purchase. He got some wickets. So altogether, when all three combined, they could play to their potential, as Shyam said.
Okay, and just quickly, guys, tomorrow India's playing Bangladesh. Satish, who's going to win?
I think India will win. That's exactly what even Shakibul Hasan is saying, that like we are not come here to win. Maybe it is a sarcastic comment, but India should
mind
win.
games.
We can't.
He's playing the mind games, Satish.
Sorry.
He's playing the mind
Very
games.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't take Bangladesh lightly, though it's a young team, very young team. But they have some decent players. But I still think India should go through, given the strength of the Indian team and the way they fought against South Africa on a very difficult circumstances. Because see, the difference is Bangladesh and India are almost similar teams. Both rely on the spinners. Whereas against South Africa, the paces were coming at them, and still India managed to do something better than what Bangladesh did. So that should give them the confidence. And this Indian team has got everything going towards them. So I will go with India tomorrow.
And Shyam, what do you think? India, Bangladesh?
India should win, but I think it's not going to be a cakewalk for them. They will have to struggle a bit because Tuscan is the Bangladesh pacer. Tuscan he's been having a very good tournament actually.
Correct.
So and he's been picking up wickets, quite a few wickets. So I think India has to be very careful of that. And not just that, one guy who has been flying under the radar is Mustafizur Rahman, and he's quite a handy bowler. Actually, he's again one of the left-arm seam bowlers who can really bring the ball back in the batsman. He's not been getting too many wickets, but he's been keeping things quiet for the against most batsmen. So these are two bowlers I would think they should be careful about. Of course, then Shakib Al Hasan, as usual, should be around there. But these two pacers, I would be careful. So it's not going to have it easy, but they should, if they play to potential, they should win actually.
I think
but
India
having
also
said,
should. Sorry, Shyam. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, at the same time, I would also like to see a couple of changes in the Indian side. I mean, if we can stick my neck out and say, okay, you last time we discussed with the KL Rahul's position. Now, after the three matches, I'm convinced KL Rahul should make way for somebody, whether it is Rishabh Pant or anybody else. I would still like to see actually Rishabh Pant in there. Not just that, with Rishabh Pant coming in, then it makes the position of Dinesh Karthik precarious. Simply because I have not been very impressed with Dinesh Karthik's batting, and I also think that to pick Dinesh Karthik for Australia for a tournament in Australia, I thought that was not up my street kind of thing. I mean, I am not in full agreement for selecting him, and the two performances I've seen him play, I mean, he was not up to scratch really. So in fact, these are the two changes I'd like to see for tomorrow's game.
I would like to add one more, Shyam. Like I would probably now my pick would be I'll try to keep Rahul, but I will change Dinesh Karthik, Deepak Huda, and Ashwin. Bring in Pant, Akshar. Akshar didn't do badly in his game, but yeah, he can be a good left-arm spinner as well. And bringing in Pant will also give you the option of the only left-hander in the team, Shyam. All others are right-handers. So that will also be there. And the third is,
absolutely,
I think Chahal should come in. Yuzvendra Chahal should come in because the big Australian grounds, it'll be very difficult for them to hit. Whereas Ashwin's that quick pace is helping them to score runs. So probably Chahal for Ashwin. I think three changes India probably will be doing or should be doing. That's my pick as well.
Okay, guys, and the other game is Zimbabwe against Netherlands. We'll see how all the teams get on tomorrow. That's it from us for today. Please make sure you head on to golfnews.com for all the latest news, reviews, videos, and much more. And of course, our social media channels, there's plenty of good content on there as well. Thanks to the guys, and we'll see you again next time.